On this episode of the Turnbuckle, we've got backstage news on Paul Ellering and the Authors of Pain returning to WWE. Sami Zayn says he feels strange following his Elimination Chamber loss. And Saudi Arabia is reportedly interested in buying WWE, but the asking price is too high. Folks, we're hitting your wrestling moves into some wrestling news because it's your favorite, because it's time for the Turnbuckle. There's an update on former WWE Tag Team Authors of Pain, Akam and Razor, and their former manager, WWE Hall of Famer Paul Ellering. In a new report from Fightful Select, those they've spoken with say the duo, quote, have an incredible amount of loyalty to Ellering, and Ellering will be, quote, heading up negotiating their deal with WWE. As reported at the end of January, WWE had internal discussions about bringing back AOP and their original manager, Ellering. Ellering had first been their manager while in NXT in 2016, but Drake Maverick became their manager when they went to the main roster in April 2018. AOP was with WWE until 2020. During their WWE run, they held the WWE NXT Tag Team titles and the Raw Tag Team titles and won the NXT Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. One of AOP's last WWE matches was on March 2020, where they teamed up with Seth Rollins and current AEW star Buddy Matthews to defeat the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders. They haven't wrestled since their WWE release. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens when AOP eventually does make their return. I'm going to be very curious to see where they actually go first, because if you put them in NXT, they could be a pretty, I feel like they would fit in nicely there. I feel like they've got a decent gimmick, just really big, spooky lumber with the I guess the army, Army of Two, sort of like that, pretty much. And then I'm glad that Paul Ellering's back with them, and man, they were really good in NXT. They were a really formidable tag team. And, like all the NXT call-ups back then, they got up there and it just was a wet fart. And then Drake Maverick showed up. And all I remember from that was he wore what they wore. But it's oh, funny because they're really small. And then Big Show made him pee his pants. And that was pretty much it. And I was like, man, these guys should have been really good. And they weren't. So it's good to see that they're making their comeback. And if they come to the main roster, that's going to be very interesting. I feel like now is fine, I guess. It would just be better if they went to NXT, but we're going to have to wait and see when and if they actually, okay, more than likely they actually aren't going to show up. So if they head to NXT, that'll probably be better for them. But listen, only time will tell where they actually end up. Next, we're going to talk about Sami Zayn and how he feels strange following WWE Elimination Chamber loss. Sami Zayn talked about his feelings following his match against Roman Reigns at Saturday's WWE Elimination Chamber press conference. When asked about his thoughts following the match, Zayn repeatedly said he felt strange. He said, "What happened tonight felt like a dream come true, but the storybook ending didn't happen. I feel strange, and that might be the recurring theme for these answers," he said. "It was kind of an unhappy ending tonight, and I'd be lying if I said that didn't affect me. This is a dream come true. You ever have a dream where it's going in a certain direction, and then you wake up right before? It was like a dream come true. It was surreal. It's everything you could ever want. And the storybook ending obviously has a certain ending to it, and that's not what happened tonight. And I can't act like there isn't a small part of me I wish I could have given that ending. To the people, to that story, to myself, to my family, to Montreal. I know what this is. We all know what this is. But some of it's real, man." When asked when he thought the Bloodline storyline started to come together, Zayn specifically mentioned August of last year, when he was introduced to Roman Reigns for the first time on camera, putting over their immediate on-screen chemistry. He also talked about the content era, mentioning how being good just isn't good enough anymore. He feels that the Bloodline storyline has created moments that people will remember 5 or even 10 years from now. So it's interesting to see where this storyline is going to be heading forward to WrestleMania. You had Jay in the match. He didn't even do anything, and it still was very compelling. You had the what's the word? The tease of him potentially doing the same thing to Roman. I didn't want him to do it. Kevin came out, which feels like they're doing Kevin Roman. That's what it feels like. I don't know. It's so far it looked they're going in obviously they're going with Roman Cody, but Kevin came out, and I guess that's for Sammy, which I guess you could say is leading to the tag match at WrestleMania if you really wanted to go that direction. But other than that, I don't know if Roman is getting a second challenger so far. It seems like it's just going to be Cody. We're going to have to see in the next couple weeks. I said it was six weeks away. You could build a feud in 6 weeks. That's not really hard. Solo wasn't there? Where was Solo? Like, why was Solo not there? I hope it's not like anything serious. I hope it really wasn't storyline, like kayfabe, like Roman like told him not to come or something, or Solo made his own decision. I don't know, but hopefully it's like nothing serious. But man, why was Solo not there? But yeah, Kevin came out, so I mean, it's just a whole lot of stuff that still hasn't been answered. So hopefully, this all gets wrapped up at WrestleMania, because man, it does not look like we are even close to the end. So we're just gonna have to wait and see how Sammy, Kevin, Solo, listen, Solo, Jay, Jim, like all of them, we have to see how all of them tie into the storyline and how it's gonna culminate at WrestleMania. Man, I'm like so excited, because I don't know what's gonna happen. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. Finally, we're gonna talk about Saudi Arabia reportedly interested in buying WWE, but the asking price is high. Triple H is staying out of the WWE sale and remaining tight-lipped on the matter, but interest in the company is reportedly high. According to Dave Meltzer of Wrestling Observer Radio, Saudi Arabia is keen to acquire WWE, but it's unclear if they're willing to spend $9 billion from the public investment fund in order to make it happen. However, Meltzer noted that Saudi Arabia wants to buy WWE for more than business reasons, which might make them the most likely party to shell out that type of money. He compared the situation to the country's public investment fund financing Live Golf and investing in soccer, which has led to accusations of sports washing. Similar to those accusations, acquiring WWE would help bolster the reputation of Saudi Arabia in the eyes of outsiders, as the country has been heavily criticized over human rights issues. During the podcast, Meltzer also discussed Tony Khan and Endeavor's reported interest in WWE. While both parties have the connections and resources to put a substantial bid together, it's more likely that Saudi Arabia will acquire the company should Vince McMahon and co. decide to sell WWE to the highest bidder. Khan has expressed his interest in buying WWE in the past, stating that his family is in the business of making big purchases. At the time of this writing, McMahon reportedly wants $9 billion for WWE. According to Meltzer, the current market value is $6.5 billion, and McMahon's hefty price demands have caused the stock value to drop recently. However, in the event that the company is sold for over $6.5 billion, the stock should experience a significant boost. The future of WWE is uncertain at the moment, but Nick Khan expects the sale to go through quickly, perhaps even within the next 3 months. All in all, I mean, it really depends on what they do. I don't really think it's going to be anything like super drastic, considering the fact that they've been like doing other stuff in soccer, and like in the article and everything. Everybody pretty much, if you know about the whole like soccer situation, and how like they've been like benefiting it a whole bunch and everything. And I don't really think that they're gonna make like a massive like imprint in WWE. Me personally, at the end of the day, man, it doesn't seem like that's something that could potentially happen. But also, I can't really make that prediction because I'm not Saudi Arabia, so I can't just be like, oh, they're not gonna do that. It's impossible. Blah, blah. I don't know. I can't make that. I can't make that choice. So we're just gonna have to see what they do. At the end of the day, it really depends on whether Saudi Arabia even is like. Okay, we're gonna get here, take $9 billion, or if Saudi Arabia's like, no, give here, take the $6.5 billion. I don't know, man. It depends on what McMahon wants. You know what I mean? Like, we still have the sale isn't even like over yet, so to even say, okay, they're saying Saudi Arabia wants to get it. And we've been talking about this for like a month now, that Saudi Arabia wants to buy it. And like a bunch of other people want to buy it as well. But so far, it's just come out that McMahon is like, oh, I want $9 billion. And Saudi Arabia, and I want to say Tony Khan, probably not. I don't think he's got $9 billion in the bank. We're gonna say Saudi Arabia, which is why I assume the first thing you think of is Saudi, because like they've got the most amount of money. So we're gonna have to see if Saudi Arabia actually does agree on the whole $9 billion asking price. I don't know if they actually will. I hope they don't, man. I hope they don't. That is a lot of money. But listen, if they are willing to actually put forward that amount of money, then listen, more power to them. What do we talk about? AOP and Paul Ellering could be returning. Well, it seems like they are returning because Paul Ellering is he's heading up negotiating their deal. So it more than likely sounds like they're showing up. So like I said, if they show up to NXT, that's probably better. I would rather them show up to NXT than the main roster, just because they can't really contend for the titles right now because of the whole Bloodline storyline. They would have to wait until after WrestleMania. But right now, if they debuted in NXT, that would be pretty good. So they have like, they have something to go after. Sami Zayn said it feels strange. Again, this storyline is not over. I don't think this storyline is gonna end anytime soon. I feel like the cap off is definitely at WrestleMania. Me and my brother were talking about how the bloodline is probably gonna end at WrestleMania, but listen, man, I honestly have no idea. We're just gonna have to wait and see how that turns out. And Saudi Arabia is reportedly interested in buying, so that tells you that I feel like they have the $9 billion and they're willing to spend the $9 billion, but I don't 100% know. And if I was Saudi Arabia, I probably wouldn't spend the $9 billion. That's a lot of money. You could probably negotiate a little bit lower, but listen, man, I'm not Vince and I'm not Saudi, so at the end of the day, we're just gonna have to wait and see what they're actually gonna do. So folks, on that note, that's gonna do it for this episode. Hopefully everybody has a wonderful tonight and a wonderful tomorrow, and as always, big hugs all around.